Meredith, Elliott, Powell, and you know what time it is. It is 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning, and it is time to come to you with sales logic. I'm hanging out here with my partner, Mark Hunter.
Good morning, and it's 5 a.m. for you, but you know what? It demonstrates the commitment we both have to bring this show every week, same time.
Yeah, Mark, I kind of got on here at the last minute, and I've got to admit that now that I'm on the road, I'm just trying to watch the finals of this Charleston Open, this big tennis match, and I was just watching Sakari do a win. So I got to start it just a little bit late here, but we got a great show this morning. Mark, here we are in April. We are headed into second quarter. I mean, a quarter of this year is gone and your sales have got to be in the pipeline. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started today, and we will dive into the program. All right. Once again, 5 a.m., 8 a.m., no matter where you are in the world, it is time for Sales Logic. Now, before Mark tells you what is on tap for today, I like to tell you how the show works. Every week, we start off a question with you from the audience. That's right. This show is all about you. So if you have a question, send it right here and we'll feature you on Sales Logic. We cover a hot topic. We recommend a book. And because we want you to leave with return on investment, we have a lightning round.
Yeah. Are you ready for the topic? Hey, what's the perfect sales call prep look like? And the question, and hey, somebody's already saying happy birthday. Hey,
I know, I love that.
I was so caught. Why didn't I not? I'm 68. Okay. I'm 68 years of age.
And you're an amazing 68.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why anyway. Man, anyway. Hey, the question today comes from Natasha in Toronto. Is sales call prep still important? If we're supposed to listen to customers, be aware of what they say, is sales call prep. Okay, so I asked Sales Logic Brain. That's where you get all the knowledge of you and me together. And what's Sales Logic Brain? It says, hey, it is just as important as it has ever been. And a critical component is understanding what's happening in the customer's world, especially during uncertain times, something you talk a lot about. Especially using the customer's language. This is another thing that we really get a chance to learn when we do our prep. The intelligence allows us to be more confident and allows us to ask better questions. Whole host of things that the Sales Logic Brain came back, but I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts.
Yeah, so I love this question. I think I'm so grateful that it's been asked because Mark, I don't think this is something that we've really addressed on Sales Logic, and I think that it's a topic that really needs to be addressed. Number one, when I first started in sales, I think sales call prep is still really important, but I think it has dramatically changed. When I first started in sales, many, many moons ago, we used to sit down. We had sheets where we did pre-call planning. And on that pre-call planning, we literally planned what the customer was going to say and what we were going to sell the customer. I mean, we planned our open, we planned our transition, we planned the products we would offer, and we planned the close. And I don't think sales call prep looks at all like that anymore.
And that's a sad point because I'll tell you what, I remember the exact same thing. And then we would go through and we would literally create the presentation. Now, here's the key thing that I think so many people get wrong. Sales call prep. Does that mean preparing the presentation? No. I think what that means is preparing your mind for the background information that you need to be intelligent when you're in front of the customer, regardless of wherever the customer wants to go. Sales call prep, without it, you cannot go in confident. It's impossible.
Yeah, pretty much I think, and Jack, I would love to hear your thoughts on this if you pipe them in the comment page, because it is such a good topic. So I think Mark was exactly right. Number one, I think there's 3 areas you have to understand with sales call prep today. And sales call prep doesn't mean prep before a call. It means you are prepping all the time. The role of the salesperson has really changed, and we've got to be the expert in the industry. So, number intimately understand the industry, the shifts and the changes and the impact that things are having, on that particular industry. You need to understand the company, the organization, how shifts in the changes are impacting them. And then you need to understand the individual and or individuals you are calling on. Are they relatively new in their role? What is their level of experience? What is their thought on strategic growth for the organization? I'll give you a great example. Yesterday I was calling on a bank. And, when I understand the industry, that industry is under a lot of pressure right now between interest rates. They've got margin pressure. They've got a lot going on. But this particular bank that I was calling on, they're in growth mode. Now, that's unusual for most banks that I'm calling on. Not that most banks aren't um, in growth mode, but they're like aggressively going after customers. Most are just trying to hold their margins at this point. They're doing a lot of loans. They're doing things that are anti what the industry trend is right now. If I didn't study the company as well as the industry, and then the individual is she's 3 years into the business and she's come from another industry, totally different outlook than I've been calling on a bank CEO who's been in the industry for 30 years. So you've got to prep in all those different arenas.
That's so critical what you just said, Mara. And I love the fact that you brought up industry because it is absolutely so many times in sales call prep, salespeople take the shortest, most expedient route, and they fail to look at the industry that the customer they're calling on is playing in. You've got to understand the industry. You've got to understand who is it that they're selling to, the customer's customer. And then you brought up the individual. The individual. So key because again, their point of view, their comments, their views are based on their legacy thinking. And for you in that situation, the person was new to the industry and new in the role and really only the last 3 years. So what does that mean? It means you've got to be doing a lot of homework. It is absolutely key. Bryn Tillman jumps in, and I'm glad you're jumping in, Brill, because social listening is so key. And social listening is, I got to understand a little bit what's happening. Now, if you caught the opening of the show, Mary was said that she was very engaged in the Charleston Open because she said she was watching an event. Now, probably most of you thought the sporting event she was watching was March Madness. See, that doesn't even come up on Meridith's schedule. No, but golf and tennis do. You see, it's understanding the individual. When you talk about sales call prep, it's understanding the industry, understanding the customer, it's understanding the individual.
Yeah, I love what Bryn is saying here too about AI, because I've started to use AI quite a bit in my sales call prep. I do my research and I kind of take all my notes and then I put my notes into AI and just add if AI can add anything. The other thing that Bryn points out here, which is so key, in addition to all that I have talked about, she said, understand the prospects customers too. So key, like yesterday when I was calling on that financial institution, the industries they sell into are non-traditional for financial services, and that changes the landscape and changes the game. Such great points.
See, that is so key. It's what I call downstream. I got to go downstream to see where the customer's going. And when you do that, it's amazing how much more confident you are. Now, here's the whole thing. Natasha raised this question. Well, aren't we supposed to go in and listen? Yes, we are supposed to. But what this knowledge does, it doesn't make you tell the customer. No, it empowers you to listen better because you make sure that certain key points are brought up. You know where to probe with questions. I think this, when you do sales call prep right, you have the ability to develop better questions. And at the end of the day, it's the questions you ask, not the information you share, that is going to determine the results of the sales call.
Yeah. And Hugh jumps in here and says, moving from a sales conversation to one of a partnership. Such a great mindset, right? Like I'm going in to make a call on Mark, and my thought is, how can I partner with him? How can I help him achieve his goal? Here's the biggest difference I think, between sales call prep the way it used to be and the way that it is now. I used to plan a call and then I needed the call to follow the dots, right? I would go from A to B to C to D. Now I want so much information that wherever Mark goes with this call, I'm good to go with him and I'm good to be one step ahead because I understand Mark's industry, I understand Mark's business, and I understand Mark probably better than Mark understands himself.
So true. And this is the key. This is the piece that it brings up the point. And I love saying this. The best sales presentation ever made is the sales presentation never given. Now stop and think about what that means. What does that mean? It means very simply, I know my industry. I know the space, just what you've been talking about. And I can go wherever the customer wants to go. And that is absolutely key. If you want to listen to the customer, do your homework. Because here's the whole thing. Think about this. Mayor, if you were calling on me and you called me on the phone or whatever, and you didn't know anything about me, but you want to sell me, how much respect do you think I'm going to give you? I'm
Right.
not going to give you a lot of respect. But if you knew my business, if you knew who I am, that I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to give you a lot more respect. We demonstrate we care by doing our homework before we go.
Yeah, years ago, this is back when Jack Hubbard worked with our bank, and I worked for probably the best boss I've ever had, but we were not buying into sales call prep. I mean, we were really involved in our community. We were like, we don't need that stuff, just a bunch of bunk, right? No matter what Jack was trying to put in front of us, we were fighting it all the way. And my boss and I went out on a call, and he took lead on the call. I'd set the call up, but he took lead on the call, and he did the transition. We did our whatever, we did the transition, and the transition was, we'd really like to have you as a customer. And the prospect leaned across the table and said, I'm already a customer of your bank. He had personal accounts there that we didn't know about. And ever since then, here I am. That was probably, oh my God, that was probably 1995. But I remember it. I remember it as a, whoa, that's freaking embarrassing. I don't ever want to be in this situation. I don't ever want to be in this situation again. I want to draw attention to, Bryn, I love this tool. Sales Navigator just rolled out Account IQ, and it summarizes enterprise companies from public information, buying triggers, and easy ways to map out the stakeholders. I tell you, I used this on a huge enterprise sale that I had, and mapping out the stakeholders, it was invaluable.
Now, stop and think about what Bryn shared and what Mayor said. This is so key. Using the tools to help you be more knowledgeable. Now, let's break this AI piece down a little bit. AI is a great tool to give you information, but don't take what AI gives you and assume it's 100% spot on. It's a helping tool for you. It's not your finishing tool. And this is absolutely key because, Mayor, I know what you do. You take it, same thing I do. I take AI information and I put it into my mind, put it in my brain, so forth, work it around. But it allows me to be more confident and competent when I'm in front of the customer. And that's absolutely key. So using tools like this is, I think sales call prep is more critical today because there's more information out there on every customer. And at the same time, it's also a little bit easier, but it can be daunting because of the tools that are out there.
Yeah, which I think is a great point that Dave Sanderson makes, is that he uses a coach to keep him updated on, internal initiatives. So he intimately, really, really intimately understands what's going on. Mark, I think what you said is so key, that it's more important. I mean, people are so busy, and if they're going to give you their time, you better make it valuable. I mean, imagine you've got a really big prospect that you're calling on, and there's 6 other salespeople calling on them. If you don't have a way to differentiate yourself, and it isn't price, it isn't price, being the cheapest is not the way to differentiate yourself. Going in there and going, I understand what you're going through. I've got the answer. Let's dive in. Tell me everything, that this is what I know. This is what I understand. Asking great other questions, and then being able to pull all that knowledge in your head to come up with a really great, solid strategy to help that customer. I tell you, there is no bigger high in sales than when you really understand and intimately understand the industry. I mean, I'm having so much fun in banking right now because I started learning money at 18%. So I get the pain point that these banks are going through. I know what it's true. I know when the pressure is on the margin, and combined with all the other things that they're going through, it jazzes me up when they tell me what their problems are, because I'm like, I got you, because I understand the industry.
And you know what's interesting about that? Because you understand the industry so well, you listen better. You
Yes.
listen. This is what's key. When you don't understand the industry, when you haven't done your prep work, you are not going to be in a state of mind to be able to listen to the customer. And I'll tell you what, isn't that what Natasha said in the question? She said,
Yeah.
hey, are we supposed to go in and listen? Yes, we do. But you go in by being so confident and competent about that space that you listen. Because when you listen better, you ask better questions. One of the things that prep also does, sales call prep does, is it is so critical that you develop your 5 or 10 questions. You always develop your 5 or 10 questions that you want to ask. Not that you're going to get through all 5 or 10. No. In fact, I always say this. I always want to get done with a sales call with more information in my back pocket than I've been able to share. Because what does that mean? That means I've been able to have a great conversation, and it's gone in some different paths. It's gone down some stuff, but I'm coming away with more knowledge about the customer. Because remember, your sales call is about helping the customer. It's not about you doing a live YouTube video. No, no. It's you listening to the customer. So key. I love what Jack's saying. 4 planning buckets. I love that. We got a great audience this morning.
Actually, I got to dive into what Jack is
Yeah.
saying. This big research on the business, the industry, people in the business, and a call roadmap, including minimum, maximum. But here's the key: the biggest thing that Jack is saying right here: call prep will be very different depending on where you are in the sales cycle. Wow, what a missed mention on our part, because you are exactly right. I mean, if this is a brand new prospect, it's a completely different call than if I'm going in there for the 4th time trying to move this, move this over the edge. The planning, the discussion, the research, all that I do is very different.
And it's also going to vary based on the size of the opportunity. In other words, I am not, if it's a very small opportunity, I'm not going to spend the same amount of time as if it's a mega opportunity. So you got to understand. But here's the whole thing: default to putting in a little more time than you thought was going to be necessary, and the results will pay out for you. Bryn Tillman, Corporate Visions, did a study that shows that 74 buyers choose the sales rep or company that was first to add value and insight. It's not price. What have we been talking about here? Yes, it's not price. If you want to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, let it be you. You're the one that differentiates yourself because of the knowledge that you bring to that space. So critical.
Wow. I mean, I've never seen this statistic. Bryn, thanks for throwing it up here. 74% of buyers choose the sales rep or company that was first to add value and insight. I mean, think about that. Now, if you're not, if you are losing on price, what a great pre-call plan to go back and do. Are you providing value and insight? But think about this statistic that Bryn just threw up here. I mean, 3/4 of buyers. That means only 25% are bottom feeders. So 3/4 are there. Now, customers will default to price. That is such a great statistic, Bryn. Thanks for showing it up there.
People will default to price anytime if they don't see value on the table. So if you're dealing with a customer where price is suddenly coming up on the table quickly, you got to ask yourself, where did I miss my sales call? I don't even have a clue as to what's going on. I've got to understand the customer. Price should never be part of that equation in that early sales call. In other words, the prospecting phase. It's going to come up later on. Hey, we got so many great comments. I love Hugh's comment here. If a salesperson wants to move from the bottom 95%, it begins with great sales call prep. Yeah, it is. It is. Sales call prep. And this is the whole thing. Get into a routine, get into a system. And that's going to allow you to be really preparing for sales call more effectively, more efficiently. We got some great comments
I
coming.
love this. I love this, Jack. I tell you, I love every time you come on the show because it pushes me to another level. I'm not doing this one. Always have one insight-based question or idea ready to share that no other salesperson will ask. That is a growing edge for me and something I've really got to look into. I love what Andy is saying here. Call prep includes letting the prospect know what will be discussed in advance. Andy, I love this, especially when I'm doing virtual sales calls, right? Like to send them an agenda ahead of time to let them know I want the camera on. It says we're serious. We're getting down to business. So many good ideas here.
There's so much there. And I want to come back to what Jack said and what everybody's saying in terms of the questions. So spot on. Remember, it's not you having this list of questions that you're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's you asking that question, the customer responds, and then you asking a follow-up question on what they shared with you. And because you've done your pre-call work, you're coming into this thing extremely confident. You know the industry, you know the space. You're not afraid of asking a follow-up question. And they share some more, and then you can ask another question. And it's amazing the path you can go. The customer will take you down the path they want to go because you're so knowledgeable about what's happening out there. Natalie, I love this comment. Research, news, updates, and annual reports. Again, there are so many ways to gather information. If we walk in stupid, we are the only ones to blame. Wow, man.
All right, Mark, we are burning time.
We are.
It's probably time for the book.
Hey, the book. Okay, you talk about the book because I can't do that. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the book is one I wrote, A Mind for Sales. So anyway. All
right. Well, you should talk about it. You should be.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I always love.
Go ahead.
No, I always love making the show about other people, other books, and so forth. Okay, so this week we're featuring my book, A Mind for Sales, because I'll tell you what, you talk about sales call prep, you've got to have the right mind going in on the sales call. And in this one, I walk you through, including my initial failures in sales. So I think it's a great book to read, A Mind for Sales.
I know it's a great book to read. I've read it a couple of times, but I wanted to feature it this week as we talk about sales call prep, because sales call prep is really about one thing, and that is really building your confidence. I am such a believer that we take energy into a sales call, and the energy that we take into the sales call has everything to do with the prep that we do. Mark mentioned that I'm kind of glued to the television right now watching the Charleston Open, the tennis there, and we're down to the finals. The difference is it is the mindset of the people that get into the finals. Skill level and thing is kind of equal at this standpoint. There's a young woman by the name of Danielle Collins who just lost forever, and she is on this crazy winning streak right now. And the shift in the years that I have seen her play, her mindset right now. So if you are not doing work on your mindset, and what I mean by doing work, and you will find this in Mark's book, is you work on it every single day. This is a muscle that consistently needs to be built and flexed. And Mark really lays it out there for you. Skill's only going to get you about halfway there. You got to have the belief and the confidence, and so much of that comes from preparation.
And I always think that mindset even surpasses skills.
Yeah. I would agree,
and totally agree. Hey, so the lightning round. Are you ready?
I am.
Top 10 strategies for creating a sales mindset. Go.
Number one, start every day with some form of learning or development.
2, have a routine. Start that day off where you're absolutely disciplined. The key to having a great mindset is being disciplined in how you handle your day, and it starts with when you wake up.
Yeah, I would say that starting with when you wake up, if you want to have a really strong mindset, take care of yourself physically. Do not think that the physical and the mind are separate. They go together.
Without a doubt on that. And be careful as to who you associate with. It is so key. Who you become the sum of the 5 people you associate with the most. Jim Rohn said that line years ago. Absolutely applies. You have to make sure that you're associating with people who are going to help you and move you to the next level.
Yeah. Number five, if you want to have a strong male sale mindset in general, whether it's sales or not, learn to embrace failures. Expect them to be part of the process. In fact, I've got a tennis coach who says if I don't double fault at least every match, that I'm not trying hard enough. And I think that's such a good shift of perspective on failure.
That's so key because there's nothing wrong with failure. It's what you learn from it. Successful people will fail a lot, and you have to always have that mindset that I'm looking to learn. You started off with number one, looking to learn. And everything that you do, you learn. Every customer you meet, you learn. You're continuous and ask yourself at the end of the day, what did I learn today? And how am I going to use it tomorrow?
Yeah. Number seven, I would say, is I guess it's number 8, is that you need quiet time. I meditate every day. I don't know what it is that, other people do, but you've got to have time for self-reflection and a level of awareness.
Well, that's so key. I mean, your faith, however you practice it, whatever you do, absolutely key because it keeps you grounded. I always say the three most critical things to finding success is really being disciplined, associating with the right people, and what is your faith? What is your belief system?
Yeah. The last is on a strong mindset is realize that negativity, doubt, all of those things will come into it, but they'll pass through. Like, don't fight those emotions. Expect that you're not going to be positive every single day. Work on it, but accept that some days are better than other, and it's a process that you're working through.
And number 10, stay focused on your goals and play the long game. Success isn't going to come overnight. View success as a long game and it's a journey. And hey, to help you on success, check out the Sales Logic Mastermind. We'd love to have you be a member of the group. With that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. Something we've said has earned you $1. Hey, consider telling a friend about our show because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meredith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We will see you right back here next week. Please remember that if you've got a question, go to saleslogicpodcast.com, put it in there. We'll feature you here on the show. Again, you are the best audience any podcasters could ever have. Thank you so much for your insight and your wisdom. You make this show so much better. We'll see you right back here next week for another episode of Sales Logic.